This is the Freebeat Morphrover, the 2-in-1 bike that can both be an exercise bike for inside your house and an e-bike for when you want to hit the roads. I've tested 2 of them now, so I have plenty to share. So let's break it down. So I don't bore you to death, we're going to break this into 2 parts. The e-bike segment we're going to talk about here, and then the indoor exercise bike segment, which has a whole dedicated video to it. I'll link it at the end of the video in the description. I'll make sure you can find it if you want to learn more about that functionality of this bike. But let's kick it off on why I had 2 of these. Well, Freebeat originally sent me one of these, this exact same bike, and I hit the roads with it, and right away I had some problems. First, they were missing some of the screws that attach the little console and little button cluster, and so I had to tape them on. So when I show you footage of me riding around, they don't look quite right. Well, they were taped on. And then as I was testing the bike, trying to get a feel for it, the motor kept slipping. And there ended up being just too many issues with that bike, so I reached out to Freebeat and said, this bike's having too many issues. I don't know what you want to do. And they said, let's send you a new one. And so they sent me a new one. Nothing special. They didn't do anything to make sure I got a great one. It came in a box just like a regular delivery, and I got to assemble another e-bike. And this one has been great. So I tell you that so you know, a little bit of hit and miss. One didn't work too great. Second one has been great. But second, because I had to wait for a second bike to come here, it's now the end of December in Michigan, which means it's terrible outside, and I cannot do a full review of this bike and really test this thing hard like I normally would. So that will be coming. So right now, hit that subscribe button, because in the spring, I will do my normal full test. This is gonna be more of a quick hitter, let you know what I know, and then we'll move on and get to the full review in the spring. But my experience with this bike, between the 2 ones I rode, it's a very typical fat tire e-bike experience, and that's in a good way. The puncture resistant fat tires do a great job. They're comfortable, they go down the road easy, you can go anywhere in them. They do a fantastic job. Definitely gives you that feel of I can go anywhere with this e-bike that I want to. Has front suspension, so it takes some of that bounce out of the road. Now, as far as build quality, it seems very, very solid. Some bikes, cheap plastic parts, thinner materials, you can just tell some parts are weak. You don't get that vibe with this one at all. The material is better quality. This is welded, strong, just sturdy frame. Everything about this when you're going down the road feels strong under you. I feel very good. The handlebars are well built. I really like the grips here. They're just very comfortable, stitched here. The material used, the console's easy to use. It's easy to change the support. At first, I thought there's gonna be a big ghost pedaling problem where when you pedal, the bike's going too fast to what the gears make for resistance. And what happens is when you try to pedal, it just kind of spins. There's nothing there. You're going too fast for where you're at with the gearing. But what I found is if I keep the PAS set at level 1, it still supports you, but you're able to get close to top speed while you have to do the work to support that speed. So no ghost pedaling from that perspective. That was very good. Changing gears works great, just like most e-bikes. And as far as the front headlight, there's just a button, which I love. Sometimes you have to hit a sequence. I don't like that. It's not easy. And you get too focused on that when you should be focused on the road. Just a little button, turn that headlight, turn it back off. That is great. Now, as far as power, I was pleasantly surprised. I've seen a lot of e-bikes, ones that are pretty slow off the line, slow to get up to speed. Not necessarily a bad thing, depends on what you want. Then there's ones that are very fast. This one's in the middle. It's not gonna blow you away with speed, but it definitely has enough power where you know it's there and it feels good. It's a good average for most people that don't want too much, but they also don't want something that's just very slow. So I was very happy with the power. Top speed, I think these can get up to 28. I haven't unlocked it yet, so this is set to 20. I will test it again in the spring. But as far as getting up to 20 miles per hour, it does not have a problem. Some e-bikes, as you get up to the higher speed, it starts to slow down dramatically. It takes everything it has to get to whatever that top speed is. No, this was good. Using just the throttle only, got up to 20. No big deal, so that was really nice. Again, power, not an issue. I talk about this a lot more in the exercise bike video I created, but they have an app, and with that app for the exercise bike, you have all sorts of content, exercise you can do, cast to a TV, and it's fantastic for getting great exercise. But there's also a mode you can switch between indoor and outdoor, and when you do outdoor, it will track your stats, it will show you your speed, what your battery life's left. It'll have a history of the workout when you're done, so you can see stats, which is pretty neat, and I do like that. But with that, I can see the battery drain, and I have not done a test this from full battery to dead yet. I'll do that in the spring, but I did 2 rides. One where I was basically using throttle only, which means top speed, worst case scenario, it's doing everything, hauling my heavy butt around. And the other one, I pedaled, it still was working. It was working with me, but I was doing some of the work, so not as much battery drain, not as much load on it. And between the two, these are small ones, but When I did throttle only, if I expanded that out over the whole battery range, it's suggesting I would get about 22 miles, which is pretty average when I test bikes like this. But when I pedaled, it was about 44 miles, which I think that's really good range. And those were in very cold conditions, so not ideal for the bike at all. So better than I honestly thought it was going to do. But again, I'll test that in the spring, but I wanted to throw those numbers out at you because those do really matter when you buy an e-bike like this. And I'll make a final point here. If this was just an e-bike and I was reviewing it as an e-bike, I would still be pretty darn happy with it. But then you take the fact that this can become an indoor cycling bike and you get a whole nother use out of it. That's pretty amazing. So check out the other videos so you know that side of things and how this functions as an indoor cycling bike. I will link that in the description. I'll try to put it on screen here as well. But again, if you don't mind subscribing to this channel, it's a new one trying to get it going. I'd really appreciate it. Like, share, you know the deal. Thank you so much and have a great one.